Hi there. My name is Matthew Boyle, and I'm the designer of this language learning card game that you see right here before you. It's called Heading into Language Land. And guess what? You can use it to improve your understanding and command of any language that you want to, be it your native language or a foreign language. You can learn more about this game at languagecardgames.com. I'm also going to teach you basically how to play it here today. Be aware that there's different formats or different versions depending on what you need. There's the printable format, which is very affordable. This virtual format, which we use it to play online with players from around the world every Saturday. You could also use it to play with anybody in the world anytime. And then there's also the real formats, the real decks, which I ship globally. To any country, I can ship them right to your door. I've been doing that since 2016, so I have a lot of experience. So if you're interested to get your own copy, you can visit languagecardgames.com to do that. But how exactly do we play the game? So the first thing that you do in this game is that you choose the character that you want to play as. And in the virtual version, we've pre-selected some and we have them ready to go in the top right. Obviously, when you play with the real deck, you can kind of shuffle through and pick out who you want. You can be any character that you want to. And the characters in this game are any cards that do not say location or pickup or animal under their name. So let's just look right here at some of these. And just to keep things simple, I'm going to pick this one, Wrinkle Root. He's a tree folk character. Okay, and I'm going to drag it over and put it there. So now we can move these character cards back into the deck and shuffle the deck. So once all the players have their character card that they want to play as, they also grab a pawn. And I'm going to imagine there's another player already on the board because I'm going to battle them later and show you how that works. So you've got your starting character, you've got your pawn, you've got your points counter set to 3. Everybody starts with basically 3 longevity points. We call them longevity points, but that's basically your life points or your power points. So you start like that. I've also put a few cards in here already because I want to show you different types of interactions that can take place. But let's go ahead and flip those cards over now. So in this game, we use the cards from the deck to build a grid of spaces, which basically becomes our game board. Now, when it's your turn and all players start off the board, next to the board, when it's your turn, the very first thing that you're going to do is flip over a card next to your current position that indicates where you would like to move. This is different from a lot of games because in a lot of games you roll a dice and you move a certain number of spaces first, but that's not what we do in this game. And the reason for that is because different characters move at different speeds. Most characters can only move one space per turn. But if you had something like a horse, you could move farther. So generally speaking, most people can only move one space per turn. So you start by flipping over a space that's next to you to find out what's there. And then you're going to have to speak about the topics that come up in the language that you want to practice. And if you're successful, then you can take an action and make your move and complete your turn. But if you're not sure what to say, if you have no idea what to say, or if you say something really badly, like you pronounce it horribly or your grammar's wrong or whatever, then for those reasons, you don't get to move, you don't get to take an action, and your turn wraps up pretty early. In this case, I flipped over an ally of mine, an ally character. How do I know it's an ally? Their name is the same color as my name, it's white. So if I choose a character with a white color name and I encounter other characters with a white color name, they're my allies. We need to team up. If I chose a black character with a black name to be, and I encountered another character with uh, a name in black, they would be my ally, and I would need to team up with them. You can be any character you want to. Some have names in black, some have names in white. Okay, so in this case, it's my ally. If you encounter in this game a ally, a special pickup like this weapon here, or an animal, which kind of functions a little bit like a pickup, or a location, if you encounter any of those cards, then you need to speak about a topic on those cards successfully in the language that you want to practice according to a number that you rolled on the dice. In all other cases, like if you encounter an enemy, such as this troll, someone, a character with the opposite color name as you, or if you encounter another player and you get on the same space and you go into head-to-head battle, in those cases, you look at your team characters to choose what topic that you're going to have to speak about. It's sort of like you're activating your own powers to attack. So that's one of the most confusing parts of this game is which topics am I supposed to talk about? But it makes sense once you think about it. The fact that if I want to call an ally to my team or pick up a special weapon or get a certain animal that I can ride or enter into a certain location, I have to speak about the topics on those cards to call them to my team or to be able to go inside the location. But if I want to attack enemies or attack another player, then I need to activate my own powers through the characters and the weapons that I already have on my team. So let's see what happens here with this ally. I roll the dice. It's a 6. Now look at this ally card. All the cards have topics 2, 3, 4, 5 written on them. What about 1? What about 6? If you roll a 1, that's kind of unlucky in this game. It means the next player in line gets to choose your topics for you so they can try to trip you up. If you roll a 6, you can choose any topic that you want, but you still need to refer to the right cards when you do that. So if I roll a 6, I can choose any topic on this ally card to speak about. If I rolled a 4, I would have to talk about a school supply. If I rolled a 1, then the next player would choose my topic for me on this word wizard card. They could choose any topic that they wanted. But I rolled a 6, okay? So let's imagine I want to talk about a language. Then I could do that in Mandarin, which is my target language. I could say, 我会说一点中文. I can speak a little Chinese, right? If I was practicing in my native language, I could say, whatever I want to talk about. I guess it doesn't really matter. Um, but the point is you talk in the language that you want to practice, and then the other players sort of vet or qualify what you're saying. They check what you're saying. If they agree with you that you spoke well, then you can take an action. In this case, I take the ally onto my team. And that's important because if you have more characters on your team or more weapons or more animals, you're going to have more options in terms of what you can speak about when you encounter enemy characters or enemy players. After you take the ally, you replace the empty space on the board with a fresh card from the deck, move your pawn onto it. Now you can officially make your move and you add a point to your score. And this is really special and important because it means the board is going to be constantly replenishing itself with new spaces, new characters, new weapons, new locations. So as you move around, you're constantly going to be discovering new things and talking about new topics. That's one of the really fun things about this game is you can move around freely and explore. And if you add to your points, that generally adds to your power. So if I get into a battle with another player and I tally up my points and they're higher than theirs, I'm going to beat them in battle. If I fall down to 0 points, I lose the game, I'm kicked out. If I get to 10 points, I win. Generally speaking, whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. 10 is a pretty good rule of thumb to play for, but you can adjust that. Now let's imagine it comes back around and it's my turn again. Remember, I want to flip over a card next to me that indicates where I want to move. Right now I have 3 cards next to my current position. Any one of them will do. So let's say I want to go here. I flip over the card. That's the first thing that I do. I don't roll a dice. Flip over a card indicating where I would like to go, the direction I would like to head in. And in this case, it's a pickup. In this game, it doesn't matter what's the color of the pickup's name. Anybody can pick up anything, potentially. It doesn't matter if your team is full of the good guys or the bad guys. Anybody can pick up the weapon. It has a white color name just to symbolize that it was a weapon that was designed by good characters or came from a good city in this world, this realm of language land. But the way that we pick it up is just like teaming up with an ally, or as we'll see later, an animal. You want to roll the dice and speak about a topic on that card. Because you want to be able to pick it up, you have to be able to speak the magical spell that will let you take it and use it as a powerful weapon. I rolled a 6 again. That's pretty lucky, right? I can talk about any topic on this card. Again, in my native language or foreign language, any language that I want to practice. You can play this game with people who are chasing the same languages, or you can play it together with people who are working on different languages. That can be fun. You can kind of have an interlanguage exchange between players, and they can learn from each other. If I'm successful, I pick up this weapon card. Bring down a new card from the deck to fill the empty space on the board, move my pawn, and add a point. Remember, if I'm not successful, then the card flips back over, I don't get to move, and I lose a point, and my turn concludes. That's what happens if you don't know what to say, or you speak horribly, and other players judge you to have poor pronunciation, bad grammar, to have made some sort of mistake or whatever. Generally, we play in a very cooperative and friendly and educational way. So we tend to help each other to get the point and do great on our turns. But if you want to play a little more strictly in sort of a healthy, competitive way, I think that can be great. You can play a little more strictly. Once there's trust in the group and you want to play more strictly, doing challenges can be good, and losing points and taking damage when you're wrong, I think can be, it's sort of like a pain point that gets you to want to learn more and study harder before the next game. Okay, it comes back to my turn again. Remember, I want to show you the different types of interactions for different types of cards. So that's what we're doing here today. If I want to move there and I flip it over and I find out, oh, it's an animal. Well, anybody could potentially bring an animal onto their team. In this game, in this particular deck, I think there's only horses. But I would roll a dice, speak about something on the horse card, and try to let the horse come onto my team. Let me move it over there a little bit more. Okay, let's just imagine I'm successful with that. Keep it moving right along. I think you're learning the stages of the turn now. Okay, so now let's encounter a location. If I flip a card over and it's a location, locations always stay face up on the board where they are discovered, and they almost never move from there. And that helps to sort of create a map on the board of different locations, and people might want to move to different locations or avoid them for different reasons, because the different locations have different special rules associated with them. But if you flip over a location, anybody can attempt to enter any location by speaking about a topic on the location. So you roll the dice, you speak about the topic. Number 3 is vehicles. Okay. I give some sort of example of a vehicle. I can speak a single word, short phrase, complete sentences, or even have a little conversation with the other players about vehicles. If I do that successfully, I can move in and gain a point, right? And that card will always stay there. I don't take it. Okay, so in all the cards we've encountered thus far, allies, pickups, animals, locations, we speak about topics on those cards themselves in order to take the action and have a successful turn. Now we're going to see the flip side, something else that can happen. Let's say I wanted to move to this card below my current location. I flip it over and I find out it's an enemy. It's the troll. I know it's an enemy because the color of his name is black and my guys are all white. The same thing could happen completely in reverse. If I had the troll and I encountered someone with a white name, it'd be an enemy, right? If you encounter an enemy character, you roll the dice, but then you refer to the cards that are on your team that you've assembled. So in my case, I rolled a 5. I can look at any number 5 on any card that's on my team in order to take out the troll. I can use number 5 on the horse, number 5 on Earthshaker, number 5 on Wrinkleroot, number 5 on Word Wizard. Now, this is a good time to point out that in this game, the categories numbered 4 and 5 tend to be harder, and the categories numbered 2 and 3 tend to be easier. So, number 5 has some of the hardest categories in the game. Superhero powers like invisibility or teleportation, idioms, layers of the planet, like the crust, the mantle, the lithosphere, the core, whatever. Horse tack is anything you need to take care of a horse or ride a horse, like this, like the saddle or the bridle, maybe horseshoes, things like that. So if I can pick any card, the number 5 topic on any of my cards in order to take out the troll. If I'm successful, I would drag the troll up here to the cycle pile. It's like he's killed. Bring down a new card. Officially make my move. Add a point to my longevity points. If I failed, if I couldn't do it, the troll would flip back over. He would stay where he is. I don't get to move my pawn and I lose a point. I subtract a point and my turn's over. Goes to the next player, right? Now it's time for the final type of interaction. The final type of interaction is if you want to battle another player. If you want to battle another player, what you do is you simply move directly onto their space and you start a battle. You go head to head. You roll a dice, look at the characters and other cards you've assembled on your team, pick the topic, speak about the topic. If you're successful, you've launched a successful attack against the other player. And then they do the same. They roll a dice, they look at their cards, they speak about a topic successfully. If both players do that successfully, then you go to a roll-off to determine the victor. If one player spoke successfully and the other player didn't, well, then you know who's the winner and who's the loser, right? If you win the battle, you add a point to your score and you stay on the space. If you lose the battle, you get kicked off the space. So let's imagine I beat this player. They have to go back off the board near to where they were in the beginning. And they have to re-enter later. And I stay there, right? Now, let's imagine we both spoke successfully. How do you do the roll off? You roll a dice and you add a dice roll to your number of cards and to your longevity points. So it's longevity points plus your number of cards plus a dice roll. That's your total power in a battle, and whoever's higher wins. If it's still a tie on the battle roll, then the attacker by default wins. We give the attacker the advantage because they had the initiative to launch the attack. You see. Now, remember, if any player falls to 0 life points, they lose the game forever. They're totally knocked out. If they still have life points and they're just knocked off the board in the battle, they can re-enter the board and keep playing. On their turn, they re-enter from their side and they just keep going. So in this game, you continue on and on like this until somebody reaches a determined number of longevity points, maybe 10 points to win the game. Or you could set a turn limit and say everybody gets 5 turns or 6 turns. And when everybody's had that number of turns, whoever has the most points wins. There's other types of objectives too you could mix in. You could say you got to also defeat 3 bad guys, or you got to have 3 allies on your team in addition to reaching 8 longevity points or whatever. So there's different types of objectives you could put together to make the game really cool and really strategic. And then the final thing that I'll mention is I've just explained how to play the game basically. This is kind of the basic mode of the game. But if you want to go into deeper layers of strategy with it, every card has a special power text or a special rule text, which is written under the categories, the four topics you see there. They're pretty self-explanatory, so I don't really want to get into it now. I do have a video which explains the power text of every single card in the deck, so if you really wanted to understand it better, you could just watch that video. But I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Usually, if you pass a topic on the card, you'll be able to activate a special power like destroy an enemy's character or gain an extra life point or get a card from the deck that you need, something like that. Um, and again, when we play, with our friends and we're doing sort of just like friendly cooperative mode, we usually look up stuff that we want to try to learn and say during the game and support each other to do that. We might ask a teacher who's in the room with us. We usually have high level speakers or teachers of the languages we want to learn in the room with us to play with us in our online game events. Or we look it up by ourselves because I have an idea of something I want to talk about, but I'm not sure how to say it. I check my translator or I check my notes, and then I practice to say that with the people that I'm playing with. So generally speaking, the points, they can be kind of like a gimmick, just to kind of gamify it a little bit. If everybody learns, everybody wins. That's generally our motto. But again, if you know your people well, if you have that level of trust and you want to play more strictly, you can, and I think that can be good. I like that. Some people don't like that when they're trying to learn content because they don't want to associate losing with learning, and I kind of get that. But on another level, I think people who really love gaming, that doesn't bother them. Actually, the sting of losing points or getting killed or knocked out or having to respawn, that kind of motivates them actually to want to play better in the future. And in this game, if you study, it really motivates you to study and know your languages well so that you can do better next time. There's over 100 different topics in the game. We have pre-built study guides for, I think, 4 or 5 languages already that cover all the topics in the game. But I think looking, sort of rifling through all the cards and thinking about what you'd say for the different topics is a great form of preparation and practice for the game when it's actually showtime and you play with other players. Um, the game is different every time you play. The order in which you will encounter things will change, and the categories you'll have to speak about change. We've been using this game for years now with our online community of gamers, and we all know that the replay value is really high. We've gotten tremendous amount of value out of just these, 50 some odd cards because there's over 100 different topics in these cards. That said, I'm working on the second edition of the game right now, heading into Language Land 2. I hope to put it out sometime next year. That's me being optimistic. I'm still preparing the artwork for it. All the artwork in this game was done by professional artists that I worked with to bring my original vision to life. The game has an original story behind it. It has a lore behind it. All the characters, the places, the special flavor text or story text on all the cards, that's all written by me. So this is, in my opinion, it's high art. It's a high creative endeavor. It will be very nourishing for your brain and for your soul, especially in this age of AI slop and brain rot, where everybody thinks you can just press a button and be creative. It doesn't work that way. You got to put some thought into it, got to put some time into it. And it's the same with our language skills as well. If you want to be great with language, you want to be a great communicator, it takes effort. It doesn't just happen because you can log into an AI program or chat GPT or whatever, or social media and be social. No, it takes work. It takes communication. It takes community. It takes trust building, and it takes setting aside dedicated time for people. So that's what we're all about here. The game is heading into Language Land. The website is languagecardgames.com. I'm Matthew Boyle. Hope you enjoyed this video today. Leave me a comment if you want to chat further, if you have any questions. You can also email me anytime at languagecardgames.com. I love to hear from my friends and my fans online, across the world, anywhere you are. Okay, Bye bye for now. I'll see you back here in the next one.